As we go for the holidays, as we proceed for the holidays, you've been at home already for some time, and we are proceeding with our sweet, sweet book, the Diastema Code. So if you've not read this book, you are really delaying, missing a lot, right? So you need to focus, because when you read this book, you are going to get a lot of information that is worth, right? Yeah, so today I feel like we should now move to Act 2. I hope after the previous discussion, you still remember what we discussed in Act 1, Scene 1, when Vera is in a hospital. She's lost her baby, and the search team is pretending to be helping her, but nothing can come up. Tindo promises that the child will be found. Bongi disappears from the hospital immediately after Tindo is asking a lot of questions. Vera is put to medicinal process so that she cannot be disturbed. In Act 1, Scene 2, we actually saw now the three, Malkia, the nurse, and Bongi, meeting to have the balance given after they have brought the baby to her. But then she says, I'll do it in 3 years' time. So now let's go to Act 2, Scene 1. Okay, I really appreciate you for following up on these lessons. I can see many people trying to check, and they are happy about what we are doing here. So you are missing out if you've not yet subscribed to the channel and if you're not following our videos. Yeah, so let's proceed with the Act 2, Scene 1. Now, Act 2, Scene 1 happens inside a tiny room. We have walls which are adorned with beautiful decorated polyvinyl chloride covers. Ramu is a middle-aged man who is seated behind a modest desk. He's admiring a framed photograph. He looks satisfied with what he sees, and he teases the image by doing a mock tickling. So, can you guess what picture that is? In my view, I think that's a picture of a baby, because he wouldn't be tickling something else. Now, do you remember I told you in the previous Act 1, Scene 2, about a husband who had gone to further the studies in PhD psychology? And so the wife, Malkia, was like, okay, when he comes, he'll be happy with what has happened, right? Yeah, so as you come by in this Act 2, Scene 1, you actually see that Ramu is kissing a picture of a boy. And he says, my boy, you have brought me and your mother so much joy. You know, he's celebrating, not knowing that the child was stolen. So he says that at least by now they can smile. The mother tried so much on several pregnancies and they were not successful until the fourth, when they were lucky to have the boy. Now, as he looks at the picture, he can see that the child has now milky teeth. Do you know milk teeth? Milk teeth, the first two have just come out. And he's seeing some gap. Not that. He realizes that there is a gap. And he's like, I do not know anyone in our family with that gap. Do you realize that some things you can suspect, but you just ignore? Yeah, appearances and looks. You can actually know a child from a tender age how they look like. So Ramu realizes that the child has a gap in the teeth, yeah? Something none of his family has. So it's like things are already under suspicion. Huh? Yeah. Welcome on board. Welcome on board those who have come online. I'm so appreciative. There are so many kids outside playing and there are a lot of noise, but I'm hoping it will not interfere with what you are actually listening to. I'll try so much so that you get it. Sanjida, you've communicated. Is it in Chinese language? Okay. Welcome on board. Okay. Yeah, so Vera then comes to the office of this doctor and greets. It's an evening. So Vera comes in and greets Dr. Ramu. Then they shake hands, and of course everybody's day was fine. Sanjida, hi. Hi, hi at you, Sanjida. I'm so happy you came online, and I'm really hoping that many people will still come on as I'm trying to talk about this book, the Diastema Code. It's a very interesting book, by the way. If you've not read it, try to find it and read it, or you can still follow my discussions online, because I try to do detailed discussions so that they excite you. Up Kahaseho. Is it Japanese? I did some little Japanese. Um, okay. Yeah. Of course. Let me proceed. So, of course, the proceeding on page 18 is that Vera shakes the head and says it's long that they have not met. Ungantiri. Ungantiri. What are you saying? I can't get it exactly. Okay, so then Vera is like, I've dealt with a lot of what ifs, you know. You know, when you lose a child, of course, you'll keep asking, what if I didn't do this? What if I didn't do this? What if I didn't do this? What if I did this? Bangladesh. Sanjida is from Bangladesh. Welcome from Bangladesh. I'm so happy with your audience. Yeah, I'm excited that you're on board. And this is our literature in our country for the junior kids. Yeah. Okay. So in Bangladesh, you say Apka Hase Ho as a greeting. And Unkatiri, what does it mean? All right. So welcoming others who are on board. I wish you chatted so that I know who is on board. It's very exciting when you have the live audience chatting with you. You feel warm, right? Yeah. Okay, so as we look at page 18, we realize that Vera is actually meditating, thinking about what if she did this, would it have happened? So she's like, what if I didn't leave? Is it my mistake? Yeah? What if Tindo was there? What if Bongi did not leave the room? Sajinida continues by saying, Apni apna, abasa, sarakonta paren. Oh, I wish I knew what you mean. Okay. Now, Vera is like, I would have had enough people to watch the baby. And of course, the maternity facility would not have lost my baby. And I would have been vigilant, you know. And Ram is like, okay, your feelings are genuine, Vera. But when something bad happens, do you know it's easy for us to blame ourselves? But do not accuse yourself. It already happened. It will only make you more angry at yourself. On page 19, Vera is like, is it wrong to blame somebody? And Ramu is like, it's possible to fail to find someone to blame. And so Ramu is like, let me demonstrate to you. If you're driving on the road, then you spot Mother Duck and her ducklings, yeah, crossing the road. You apply emergency brakes, but the car does not stop. Yeah? Then there is a motorist behind you, realizing too late that they are ducklings, runs into you. Then he crushes the poor ducklings. Whose mistake is this? Are you seeing? Can you have an answer to this? I'm finding it also difficult to blame. So, of course, Ram is just trying to say that sometimes it is difficult to find someone to blame once incidences have happened. Yeah. And so Vera is like, I'm trying to avoid to ask myself ifs. But every time I try to avoid, the more they come. Yeah. So then Vera notices a picture. You remember the picture of the boy? And says, I want to have a look. And of course, she holds the picture and takes a good look. And she's like, okay, this is a very nice baby, right? And so by just touching the picture, Vera feels very calm. She's like, gorgeous. Yeah, admiring the baby. Angelic. The prolonged silence and all that, she's calm. and apologizes for having felt in touch with the boy. Ram is like, it's okay to do so. And Vera says, I feel some strange calmness. Yeah, after touching this baby, I feel like I have a strange connection between myself and the baby. And I wish I was the mother. Would you request the mother to let me meet the son? And Ram is like, that is in order. There's no problem. Of course, I'll ask the mother. I wish Ramu knew exactly what he's getting into. Yeah, and Vera says, I'll permit you to go and ask. And once you do so, I feel like I should have this boy in my laps and hold the boy, and perhaps my healing will be accelerated. And Ramu says, yeah, you've taken a long way, and I hope this will really help. Instead of getting into the guilt stage, you should get out and heal. And so Vera is like, yes, yes, I am. And I'm not going back to be in guilt anymore. I, of course, with the calmness, I'm going to be okay. And Ramu says, I'll arrange for a meeting and you'll definitely meet this boy. And once my wife comes from meeting the sales team, remember Malkia conducts some kind of business, and her company, of course, there are salespeople there. And so once the trip is over, there is a promise that after 5 days, they'll be meeting. So she'll be able to meet the boy and, of course, heal. Yeah, so Vera leaves after shaking hands with Ramu. Yeah, and that's the end of scene 2. Scene 1 of Act 2. Now let's go to, okay, we have Call on Duty, Code Jatrik. Hi, how are you? Okay, so we are just here talking about a book, a play, the Diastema Code. I don't know if whether you've interacted with Kitusi Mulonzia's writing. It's so interesting, and I would encourage you to do so. Yeah, so welcome on board. I'm so happy when I get people coming online as I'm presenting, because it encourages me to keep doing that. Yeah, so we can go to scene 2. Of course, in this lesson, our discussion, unlike others, welcome on board. I can see more people. Come on, chat so that I know who it is, and I appreciate you for your presence. And I hope that you'll be subscribing to my channel, because I always do different discussions, sometimes reactions, sometimes educational live aspects, and academic. Yeah, so thank you for coming on board. I'll proceed to Act 2, Scene 2. Yeah, and Act 2, Scene 2 happens in a modern house, which is not very lavish, and it does not have very few furnishings. So Ramu is sitting at the dining table reading a newspaper. He's shaking his hand in a reaction to an article he's reading, right? So we have middle-aged Malkia, the wife, joining him, and she's carrying 2 mugs with a steaming substance. What do you expect is in the cups or mugs? Is it coffee? Okay, so she hands one to Ramu, her husband. Ramu hands the newspaper as shifts his attention to the mug. What do you think they are, the news in the newspaper article? Let's get to see what they are. So Ramu is like, has the young man's fever gone down? And Malkia is like, oh yes, it seems like he's coming down with tonsillitis. And Ram is like, oh, I thought he had trouble with the erupting teeth. Malkia is like, it's both. Okay, so it's mother and father giving attention to their son, one fearing that it's just tonsillitis, another one thinking it's the teeth that are coming up, that come up with fever. Alarming rate, and Malkia is like, okay, yeah, this is the first 2 years. Yeah, so there is this alarming aspect of the rise in currency aspects. Now Ramu says this is not good for economy. It will erode the people's purchasing power. Yeah, do you understand that whenever there is inflation, it affects the power? people cannot buy what they need because there is inflation actually. The prices of commodities go high and the cost of living also go high and business is affected. Yeah. And of course, that is what is happening. Even in Kenya currently, you go to the shelves in the supermarket and you realize that products are rising. Yeah. I don't know what happens in Bangladesh, Sanjida. What about you, call on duty? I don't know which country you're from. Yeah. Yeah. So it happens that with the rising of prices and generally the cost of living, then people cannot afford to run businesses well. Yeah. Yeah. So Malkia says we are not selling as much. Yeah. I told you Malkia is in business world and an entrepreneur. And of course the peak season, but people are not selling, right? Yeah, Ram is like something needs to be done. And Malkia is talking about bonuses and how they are giving them a lot of trouble. Ramu then talks about having more people in the team so that they can reach far and faster. Malkia talks about the need for capacity building. You know, in business, you need to do capacity building. You talk to your marketers, you tell them what they have to do, you enhance their skills in marketing and how they can convince people to buy products. Then Malkia asks the husband about the research deals, and given that the prices are rising, and Ram is saying we are trying to secure a lot of money from other funds so that we can continue with our research. Yeah. So when you get to page 24, we can see that Malkia is talking about how lucky he is that he has been able to convince donors to give money. And Ramo is like no free money anymore because taxpayers' money is a source in source countries is very challenging to them. Malkia tells him that some jobs are just cut out for some people, and she does not know how to respond to someone who asks her to beg for money for projects. You know, she's in business. The husband is in research and medicine, of course, psychology, counseling patients and all that. Yeah, so Malkia talks about a different orientation that she's applying, relying on wealth that she has created over years to invest instead of borrowing, right? And Ram is like, yeah, your business world is different, but our scholarship world is different too. Yeah, are you seeing? So diversity. Life needs diversity. As you grow up, you realize that you have one school of thought, but you keep learning from others too. Yeah, so the perfect symbiosis happens when we have people coming to borrow as donors, distribute or contribute, and we have a world whereby some people have money that's just multiplying. So Malkia talks about, asks the husband whether he needs more of the whatever, whether it's tea or coffee. We have not been told about the contents yet. So Malkia then says, I'll check on Rununu, right? Remember, the boy was sick and sleeping. And of course, Ramu says, yeah, allow me to ask for a favor from you. Now, the favor here, remember the previous scene, Vera had requested that she meets the boy. And Ramu had promised that that will be possible after he talks to the wife. And at first, when Ramu asks the wife, Malkia, to do so, Malkia is very hesitant. It's like, no, why? It will just ruin her. Welcome on board. I can see more people coming. Thank you for coming online. I really smile to that. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so, as we proceed with such discussions about live reactions, political, social, economic, and academics. Currently, I'm doing an academic discussion on this book, the Diastema Code, and I'm on scene 2 of Act 2. Yeah, so Vera is, Malkia is like, Vera will be depressed. If she meets my son, she will be more depressed because she will look at the loss. And Ram is like, no, it's 2 years now. And I don't think that she can sink in depression because she's really willing to meet this boy so that she can be fine. And Malkia is that, Okay, I'm nervous about it. But anyway, if that is the case, let's go for the meeting first, and then we can see. And Ram is explaining that she was very calm on meeting the picture and holding it, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, Malkia says, let me check on the boy. And of course, she says after the trip, remember the trip of capacity building for her salespeople. That's when she will allow Vera to meet the boy. Yeah. So what do you feel about this book? Do you experience such things in life, like people losing their children, and yet they are just stolen by people who are close to them? Some people buy such kids because they were unable to get their own. And with the time, you find that the reality comes to hit on them, because how long can you hide some things? Yeah, so we've had incidences of where children are lost in hospitals. Nurses know what happened. They sell the kids. They don't sell to people who are very far from you sometimes. And in the process, you may tend to know your child with time. And of course, with what we call instincts, when you find this child, even in a supermarket, you'll tend to look at them and you're like, this one looks familiar. Why do I feel calm when I look at this boy or this girl? And of course, this teaches us to be very keen around when we are moving around. When we have lost something, we should be very keen, especially people. Yeah, in the current society, people can be brutal. They steal your kids, and then they'll just be happy about it. But then, even as a father, when your wife comes and says, I'm pregnant, I've got a child, and you are not there, you need to prove some, you need to question. And of course, we saw in Act 2, Scene 1, Ramu is questioning, why is this kid having teeth, but there is a gap? Yeah, there is a gap in between, and there's no one in our family who has such. And so this proves to you that aspect of being observant is very important in our life, in our daily life. Yeah, so thank you for coming on board. I'm still very appreciative. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. I really long for more chats, comments that will keep my work live. Otherwise, we'll meet in another discussion again. I like doing lives these days because when I have time, of course, then I have to do lives more than just videos. Bye-bye for now, but we are going to meet again very soon in another discussion, yet academic again. Bye-bye.